Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Haley. Today I'm going to be sharing the story about my labor at 17 years old. And I have my son right beside me, so if I look that way, that's why he's laying right beside me. And I'll show you guys him in a little bit. But I'm going to start from my water breaking. I was 38 weeks and 6 days when my water broke. I had a scheduled induction on 39 weeks, so it was the next day. I could have sworn my water was not gonna break. I didn't feel like it. I never had a contraction. I never had Braxton Hicks. I thought for sure that he was not gonna come out until I was induced. I thought I for sure was gonna be induced. So I got invited to a sleepover at my friend's house with like 5 girls, and I was like, sure, why not? And so I normally stay the night with my boyfriend, which is his dad, but that night I decided that, oh well, my water's not gonna break, I'm gonna be fine because I don't even feel like it, you know. So I go to the sleepover and we go night swimming. And after we go night swimming, we go back inside. It's late. It's probably 11 and 12 at this point. We talk for a little bit. We go to sleep. So I felt like I was asleep for a while, but I guess I wasn't. And I woke up and I felt like I had to pee. And I normally had to pee in the middle of the night. Being pregnant, you have to pee all the time. So I was like, okay, whatever. So I get up. And this is TMI, but a huge gush of liquid falls on the floor. And I look on her bed, and there was just little spots on her bed, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry about that. And she didn't care though. And I stand up and it falls on the floor, and there are girls everywhere in the room on the floor asleep. And I got the bed because they let me because I was pregnant. And I go to the bathroom and I'm like, okay, well, did my water just break? I had problems with water leaking before, and it wasn't actually my water that broke. So I was like, is it? And I was like, yeah, this is way too much liquid. My water definitely broke. So I started freaking out in my head, and I'm like, okay, should I wake him up? Yeah, I can't drive myself. So I tell the girl that's near the door that my water broke, and she wakes all of them up, and she's like, yeah, your water broke. And they're all freaking out, and they're like, all right, we gotta go to the hospital right now, right now. And I was like, okay. And I was my pants were soaked, and I was still leaking on her floor, everywhere in her house. So I was like, do you have anything that I can use so I'm not leaking on your floor everywhere and in your car? And she was like, yeah, take this Barbie pillowcase. And I was like, okay. So I take the pillowcase and we go in the car, and she has the fastest car, so she was like, yeah, let me drive you, I'll get there really fast. And I was like, okay. And so we get there. The hospital is 45 minutes away, but we get there in 25 minutes, if that says anything. And I wasn't even having contractions until 5 minutes into the ride to the hospital. And so we get there, and I completely soaked this pillowcase. It's sobbing wet. I didn't even know that much liquid could come out of me, honestly. It was unreal. And I get in there, and I go up to the receptionist desk, and I'm like, hey, my water broke. I'm in labor. I have no idea what to do. And she was like, okay, well, I need you to come over here and sit down and sign all these papers. And I was like, okay. I'm leaking everywhere, and I'm having contractions, and I'm freaking out, but okay. I didn't understand why I couldn't do that when I was in the hospital bed, but I guess they have to have you check in, I guess. But I'm my hand's shaking, and everybody's standing behind me, and I'm just trying to fill these papers out. And about 5-10 minutes later, I get brought up in a wheelchair to my room, and then I stand up from the wheelchair, and again, a pool comes out of me. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay. And they're cleaning it up for me, and I'm like, you guys don't have to do that. And my friends are just cleaning it up. And I get in the hospital gown or whatever, and they start hooking me up to the machines, and I'm hooked up to the machines. They check me, and I was at like a 3. I had been at a 2 previously, so I was at a 3, and then I get hooked up to the machines, and they're just monitoring our heart rates, you know, stuff like, well, his heart rate. And then about 3 hours, oh, I have to tell you this. So his dad, my boyfriend, I was trying to get a hold of him, but his phone has to be cut off for it to charge because it's broke. And so he cuts his phone off every night before he goes to bed, which was not good because I couldn't get a hold of him. But I called his mom. His mom woke up, and he came to the hospital immediately. But so he gets there, and we're sitting in the room, and they're like, you should probably get that epidural soon. And I was like, really? Like, it hasn't been that long. Like, I could take it longer. And she was like, well, there's no need in unnecessary pain, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. So she brings in the anesthesiologist. I think that's how you say that. And the epidural didn't hurt. I was terrified of it my whole entire life. I didn't even want kids originally. And I wasn't planning on ever having the epidural because I was always terrified of it. But I'm also terrified of labor. That's probably my biggest fear. That's literally one of the reasons I never wanted to have kids. I'm a sissy about pain, and I just thought it was way worse than it really was because everybody says it's like the worst pain in the world, but it really wasn't. I didn't really have a problem with contractions. Like, they weren't even that bad for me. But my epidural, I got it, and it only worked on my left side of my body. My legs were numb, but my, like, where the contractions are, like, lower stomach area, you know, that I could feel on my right side, the contractions. And I could take it, but it was, you know, painful, but I could take it. And then they're like, okay, well, we'll give you another dose, like a stronger dose, and then lay on the side that it's not working on. And I was like, okay. So I lay on that side, and then my other side doesn't work. Like, my left side, I can feel it now. So I was like, okay. So I can feel it, but I'm like, it's okay. Like, I'm not getting it again. Like, it's whatever. I was like, I shouldn't have got it so early. Like, you don't even know how long this labor is going to be. So it was, they checked me like 4 times, and it's like in the morning now. Everything's going smoothly. No complications, nothing like that. And they checked me around like 9:45, 10. And she was like, oh, like, you're at a 10. Like, you're above a 10. You're at 11. Like, we got to have this baby, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. So it hit me. I was like, all right, I'm about to do this. And I was terrified, but I was like, whatever. So I start pushing, and honestly, when you're pushing, I had no idea when you have the epidural. You cannot feel what you're doing. I felt like I was just grunting my face and not doing anything. Like, I felt like my face was bloodshot, and I was just making the face like I was pushing, but it wasn't pushing. But they were all like, oh, you're doing great. Like, I can see his head, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. So she asked me, my doctor, she's like, I can see his head, like, it's right there, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, do you want to feel his head? And I was like, no. And she takes my 2 fingers anyway and makes me feel his head. And I was like, oh. Like, it just freaked me out. It freaked me out. I know it shouldn't, but it freaked me out because it was inside of me. It scared me. So I was like, okay. And so I'm pushing him out, and we're just casually talking, like, in between. Like, I'm not in any pain. Like, it didn't hurt. I was just chilling, like, waiting for a contraction to come. Like, I could feel when they were because it was worn off on that side. So whenever I felt it, I just thought I was pushing. Well, I was pushing, but I felt like I thought I was pushing. So I was pushing, and so 26 minutes later, he was born at 10:30 on the dot, so only pushed for 20-something minutes, which apparently was really good for your first kid, because apparently the average is like an hour or an hour and a half for your first one. But it only took me 26 minutes, and he was born at 7 pounds, 11 ounces, 10:30 on the dot in the morning, and he was 20.5 inches long. And he is perfect. He was born with low blood sugar, but we had to stay 3 days in the hospital, which really sucked because I hated being there and I just wanted to go home. But he had low blood sugar because my colostrum, it's like the stuff that your boobs produce before they produce milk, and they call it like liquid gold. That didn't have enough sugar for him. So I had to supplement with formula, and I'll show you guys him, but that's pretty much my labor story. But he's perfect now. He only had the low blood sugar for like 1 day. That's him. Say hi. His name's Bentley Riker. That's pretty much my labor story. If you guys want any more videos about my labor or anything like that, let me know, because I'm going to be posting on this channel, not just mom related things. I'm going to do other things too. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.